Hi, I'm Mary Baca. I am founder and president of a nonprofit called For the Love of Equine. I also have a counseling agency here in Albuquerque, New Mexico called Odyssey Counseling. And I'm doing a podcast series for the Love of Equine leading up to an event. We're featuring a screening on a documentary called Rescued Hearts, and I'm co-hosting that event. It's March 6th, 2026. The venue is South Broadway Cultural Center, and it's going to be a great time. Don't miss it. We're having a silent auction and who knows what else. Hey, Dara.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm going to talk a little bit about the event that's coming up.
Perfect.
That's why I'm doing this equine assisted series because we're co-hosting an event with Rescued Hearts documentary here in Albuquerque. I'm so excited. That's how I actually met Dara, and I'll talk about that in a second. But our event, we're plastering it all over. You'll see it as part of when my producer does his magic at the end. You'll see on the recording, you'll see the bigger picture of this. But basically, equine assisted services are all about partnering with horses to help human beings heal. And I wanted to have Dara on the show because she does the same kind of work I do. And she's as much of a believer and passionate about all that we're able to really help people heal in a different way, really in any modality that I've ever seen. I've been doing therapy for 35 years. I've had my business odyssey counseling and really working with the horses has been incredible. Like it's a modality just by adding them in there, their energy. I hate to even say modality because when you work with these beings, they're more than just a modality, honestly. But it's a very, very powerful thing. And Rescued Hearts, that's how I don't know if you know, Dara, but I went to see Rescued Hearts documentary in Sedona and back in June of last year. And I was so moved by not only the documentary, but the filmmakers who everybody's going to be able to meet when they come to the event that I came back to Albuquerque and I'm like, I have to do that work. I have to start a nonprofit. I just hit the ground running and it was effortless because what I saw in the documentary was just so powerful and just struck me to my core that and the energy of the people in the room and just all of it together, right? I had to come back and start along that journey myself. So it's been incredible. And so Dara, the filmmakers are the ones that connected, and that's Dana. Oh, I don't want to destroy her name, Krisher and Chrisana. Do you know Chrisana's last name? Ah, it's terrible. I don't have it in front of me. But the filmmakers, they sent an email to myself and my co-host, Hoof Heroes, introducing Dara to us because Dara was wanting to host the film herself and they couldn't find a venue or you can talk a little bit about, but so we've talked a few times, texted, and I plan on going out this summer to see her business, meet her herd, which I'm super excited about. And so, yeah, so your business, the program that you're representing today is Leading Equine Assisted Development. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. And so I wanted to ask you, when did lead therapeutic writing, leading equine assisted development open?
So we opened in 2023. So my background, I'm a nurse and I've worked with primarily children. I primarily did pediatric ICU for 25 years. And I also have a very long horse background. I grew up on a ranch. I was competed in barrel racing and I was on the rodeo team, even at Texas Tech. And that's where it kind of comes together. At Texas Tech on the rodeo team, we volunteered for a program like similar to
Mhm.
this. At the time, it was over turf therapy. And I fell in love with it. And I've continued to volunteer at programs across the country. The last ones I volunteered at was in Colorado Therapeutic Riding Center, and just learned so much about the different ways people can work with horses. So, primarily a lot of those centers do hippotherapy, which is a physical therapy, occupational therapy on horseback. and then therapeutic riding, and then equine assisted counseling or coaching. And so when I moved, long story short, when I moved from Denver to New Mexico, we're in Ruidoso, there's not a program within 3 hours of us. And I
Wow.
felt very passionate to start this and prayed about it and got some people involved. And it really came together very quickly. And my dad and one of my best friends have helped me start the program. And we started out with about 5 riders. And because we do primarily therapeutic riding, equine assisted learning or coaching. And then that's where the personal development comes in, right? And then counseling. So I work with a therapist and like LCSW.
And so break down that a little bit
Yeah.
because, a lot of people that will see this podcast, they don't know anything about any of those different categories that you're talking about. So kind of describe like each,
Yes.
if you would.
So absolutely. So the therapeutic riding is really focused on horsemanship. And so all of them, I want to say we really believe the horse is the healer. So we work with children with autism, with Down syndrome, some cerebral palsy, emotional and mental disability, or not cognitive, sorry, emotional disability, emotional or physical disabilities or experiences, right? So we have some adolescents that need to seek counseling for various things. It seems to be very helpful, especially with our teenagers at risk that might be struggling with lots of different things, but especially depression and anxiety. We get a lot of that, and they really connect with the horse and that healing power. Um, our Down syndrome children, they love the horses so much, and they really just light up. And it's really amazing to see because they're more on the therapeutic riding side and the horsemanship side, and they bond with the horse and they build confidence. And it's just so cool to see them go from one of our little riders. The dad was like, he's not going to be able to tell the horse to walk on and whoa. He's riding almost independently now, a year later.
Wow.
It's so cool.
Wow.
They learn so fast with the horses.
Yeah.
And then the physical side of it, we don't do hippotherapy yet because I don't have a physical therapist working with me.
And so what
But we,
is hippotherapy for
oh,
those that
yes.
don't know?
So
Yeah.
the hippotherapy is kind of interesting because when you really break it down, the biggest thing is they use the horse more as a modality, like you're talking about, where they actually use the horse to help with the physical therapy or occupational therapy or speech therapy, because the motion of the horse is very similar to how we walk. So it helps
Oh,
build your
okay.
core. It helps build your, I'm setting up better as I say that. They have to sit up straight, right, and use their core muscles, balance, coordination, a lot of physical things. The speech therapy, the way the
As they're
horse
riding the
moves
horse is what you're
as
saying.
they're
Is
riding
they're
the
on the house
horse.
and they're riding, those things automatically get worked on because of the way
Yes,
the body needs to shift. Yeah.
absolutely. And so, like, we have a rider who is in a wheelchair, and he has gotten so much stronger riding horses. It's really amazing. And then the speech, this is the other cool part I just really love about it. We do have several children with autism that also are either nonverbal or limited verbal. The motion of the horse and that pounding, that resonating their hooves on the ground helps stimulate speech as well. And so people have said their first words on horses. It's really cool.
Wow.
And then the
Wow.
occupational therapy, that's like you work with them like putting rings on poles or playing little game. We have lots of different games we play, but it really our little rider with cerebral palsy. We have a saddle that's been adapted for her so that she can set up in the saddle because otherwise she's has a lot of muscle tone issues and couldn't set up alone. And we do games where she has to reach for things and she has to use that her hand that has a little bit of a contracture. And so she's already made progress with her physical and emotional development. And it's really cool to see.
I know in the documentary they had this little girl or boy, I don't remember, and I think they have autism, and they said their first words with the
Yes.
horse, ever,
Yes.
like in their life. I mean, oh my gosh, and I don't work with those populations, but what I am seeing like with trauma and grief and, different things, depression, anxiety are just like amazing. It's just amazing.
Yes. And that's our
So,
third piece of it. We have a psychiatrist and then we have one of our she's doing an internship with us right now because she's about to graduate with her master's in equine assisted psychotherapy. And
nice.
Just super cool. I'm excited for that. And then she's already working with a lot of our, so they'll do a lot more groundwork. And then sometimes they'll still come and ride
Yes.
with us, but it's more focused on the counseling than the horsemanship.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
what I
think
do
that's
is
the best way to
groundwork.
explain it.
Now,
Yeah,
do you have anybody that does equine assisted EMDR?
not yet.
So maybe when I go visit you, I'll do a session for you
That
guys
would
to
be
see that.
awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to integrate those two modalities together.
Yeah.
Up until I started doing equine assisted, EMDR was like the thing for me. It's not a one size fits all, just like equine assisted isn't a one size fits all, but I use EMDR a lot. And so I went to a training so that I could combine the two when it's appropriate, when I have those clients that just fit the need for both of those modalities. And so what you talked about what got you involved or kind of like, the steps you took, but emotionally, like, what does it? What's your why? What's your why?
So a few reasons, but my horses have been always for me my safe place and my grounding place. And even when I was younger, I would just jump on my horse and take off riding anytime I was like struggling with anything. And so I am volunteering at these programs. I've really seen the benefit of how healing horses are and how calming, and especially for anyone that has any anxiety, like you spoke about. I just want to help people. I'm a nurse, that comes kind of naturally, and I've had horses my whole life. So it's kind of cool, just the two coming together. It's like horses
Yeah, and I
healing
think I
people.
think one of the things you said is like when you experience it, right? So like after
Yes.
I do a session, and I can't say this about regular counseling, but after I do a session, an equine assisted psychotherapy or coaching, I am so relaxed during,
Yes.
after. So, we have the client that benefits enormously right before our eyes, but I, as the therapist, experience that too. And so that's so validating, when you experience what the horses have to offer, just the environment, the session. I mean, even if they don't, like I did a session the other day and it was amazing because the horse didn't want to participate during. Well, he did. Let me rephrase that. He didn't come up to the individual. He stayed on the periphery, but he would walk back and forth, which is unlike him. Okay, usually he'll just stay standing in a corner. So that was even something. And then at the end, when we were done, then he came up and interacted with the client. And it was like so amazing just to watch that, and just really be out in nature. That's the other thing, right? That's the benefit for people versus an office setting, right? We can't bring
Absolutely.
an office and a horse into an office, But I mean, that would be nice if we could, but we can't do that. But there's such a benefit to the natural environment. And then the horses, there's that horse, um, just the way our hearts sync up to the horses, which is part of heart math and heart coherence. And it's just amazing to watch that and experience that for yourself. So, can you speak to that? Like, what do you experience personally in that way? Relaxation and
Yes.
before
So I've
doing.
experienced it every day with, especially my horse Junior. I've had this horse, he's 35. He's been in our family for 20 years. And I still, even yesterday, it's been, we've had a lot of weather and unable to ride for about a month because of snow and ice and mud. And I just went outside and was with Junior. And I was having kind of a little bit of a tough day. And I just instantly felt better just being with him for about an hour. And I see that with my writers, but I also, the cool thing I didn't really expect is my volunteers, right? They really light up too, because a lot of our riders will have a leader, a horse leader, and two sidewalkers, and they walk beside the family. They walk beside the rider and make sure the rider is safe to stay on the horse, so we don't have anyone, falling off a horse. But they also interact with the rider and they interact with the horse, and that's one of the things I didn't really expect about the program is how much the volunteers really connect with the horses. And they say like it's their therapy too.
Yeah.
And I have one mom who she is awesome. I'm trying to get as a PICU nurse, we talk all about family-centered care, right? Involving the family in the care of the child because they're going to go home with them. And so I'm really working with some of these children that it's appropriate for to have their mom or sibling or dad be the sidewalker and be in the lesson because it, number one, it helps them understand what we're doing. They get to experience it. I think it bonds them, and this mom even says that it bonds them even more with their child going through this experience together. But then she has even mentioned to me a couple of times, like, it's so stress relieving for her. She looks forward to it too. They leave their busy day at work or school. She leaves her busy day at work, picks him up at school, and they come out there and she's like, instantly both just relax when we get out of the truck and we get to see the horse. And so she helps
It's
groom and brush and do all the things. And
mm,
it's really cool.
it is, and it's that ripple effect, right? That, like you said, you don't even expect it. And
Yeah.
and the thing that I love too is every session has its similarities and some are very different. And so I don't know, it's so powerful. It's a kind of therapy that I leave from doing, like I leave a session and I keep having these aha, right? Like, oh, wow. I'm just in awe, like, for like the hour after the session. And regular therapy, yes, I mean, I love that too. I love doing regular therapy without equine assisted, but it's just so different and in some wonderful, wonderful ways. The weather is always, that can be challenging, right?
Yes.
There are those things like, whereas if you are going to have counseling in an office setting, you can do it, doesn't matter what the weather's like. So, but depending on where you're at physically, you can, pivot and
Oh, yeah.
still have
We
the
have an
session.
indoor
And
for the
yeah,
counseling piece. We do have an indoor area office space classroom that we're trying to make it more healing environment for the counseling as well. So
now,
we do have that option.
and what certifications do you guys have? Like I'm certified in the Icarus model.
Hmm.
And I know there's EGALA and there's PATH. What
Yes.
certifications do you guys have?
So I am PATH for my EAL, Equine Assisted Learning Facilitator. And then I'm CHA for my riding instructor. And then once my person that's in her master's program graduates, her and I are going to go to Igala and be
Oh,
trained
nice.
because she'll
Uh-huh.
be as the therapist and me as the equine specialist, right? Because you need to have an equine
Right.
specialist inspection too.
Right. What does CHA stand for?
Is Certified Horsemanship Association. They were
Okay.
actually the first one, and I didn't realize that. And I'm going to complete another certification in that in the end of March. So they're all over the country. They certify all different riding instructors, not just they call it riders with disabilities versus PATH calls it adaptive riding or therapeutic riding, but they call it riders, instructor of riders with disabilities. So the interesting thing I'm learning is that there's a lot of different people, in certifications, but the main focus is always the horse and the human connection and how we can use that, like you said, for equine assisted services, whatever that service is. So that's like EAS is the big umbrella, right? Equine assisted services.
Right.
And then we're all under that, all the different things we're doing.
And it's fascinating to me to see how different people do it, right? Like how
Yeah.
different people, what kind of service, what they call it, how they integrate it, what they do. It's just fascinating. It's like a whole new world to me. And there's so much to learn and see. And, it's kind of like being in this field for 35 years. I still learn things every day.
And the horses
Um,
will teach you something different every day.
yes, for sure. Yes.
Because
So,
sometimes
and
they
what
have
is
their own
EAL,
personalities. Equine
equine
assisted
assisted
learning.
learning?
Mhm.
Talk about that a bit,
Yeah.
what that
So
is.
it has three different versions you can do with that. So that what we're doing is that personal development piece of it. So we use it a lot for all of our riders. They build confidence, self-esteem. We play different games where they're learning horsemanship skills, but at the same time they're learning life skills. That's the big thing, right? They use it in the schools as well. We haven't got to that point yet, but they can have, and we do work with a lot of school age children, and we try to get more incorporated with the schools, but we're not separating out and like teaching math or anything. But they can use it for some basic education, primary education. But using games on the horse, and so then they're still teaching horsemanship. We do a lot of games where I really want to teach them. Even they surprise me all the time. We have a child that has severe autism and is very limited verbal. And we play these games all the time where I teach them all the parts of the horse and all the tack and what everything does. And they surprise me all the time because some of the children I wouldn't think would remember it or know it we after we do this, we kind of to test their test is we will place these items around the arena like mid session because we go 8 week sessions like week 4 or 5 because I'm always talking and teaching and showing them pictures and teaching them like you use this brush for the the curry comb first and then the soft brush and I'm always telling them what things are called and how that goes. But to see like the test to see if they are getting it is usually like the middle of our session. We'll have a scavenger hunt and we put all the tack out in the arena and then we ride around on the horse or lead. Sometimes he only leads his horse and he loves that just as much as riding um, to each piece. And then they either tell me what it is or for him, because he doesn't have that many verbal words, I'll say, okay, go find the soft brush and then he'll take his horse to it. So, but some of the kids I'll say, where's the soft brush? And they'll go find it, right? Or what is this? So show him a picture. Anyway, he actually, um, when he found the hoof pick in the arena, he not only found the hoof pick, he took it over to the horse and picked his foot up and picked his hoof. Like that's what we do with this. It was so cool. It's like, wow, he really gets it. So
That's when
that's a
you
lot
wish
of
you had your camera, your video rolling, in those
yeah.
moments.
So that's a
Uh-huh.
really good example of equine assisted learning. And we do the funny thing is, and I love there's a person who trains instructors, and her name is Sabra with Hoof Falls and Footfalls. And when she teaches adaptive riding or EAL, she does both. And she's CHA certified and PATH certified. And it was nice to really go to her training because she's like, everything we do is truly EAL. Like we're teaching them on
Yeah.
they're learning, we're learning, so she's like, she combines a lot of adaptive riding and EAL sessions. Like you're teaching them horsemanship, a lot of it crosses over. And so I really adapted that model too, where most of my riding sessions are EAL, but are we mounted or not mounted? That's kind of the difference.
Who
And
started Lead? Was it you
me,
that started Lead?
yeah,
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 I
I'm the
thought that's what you had
founder.
said when we met before. Yeah,
Yes,
that's amazing.
thank you.
So you're like a mover and shaker. You're like, okay, let's do this. I'm going to
Yeah,
create this program.
I'm the program director and the only instructor right now. And I jokingly say, but I do everything from program directing all the way down to the poop scooping. Right, like we don't have employees yet, so we have a lot of volunteers, which are amazing, and they help us do a lot of things. But we're still small. This is starting our 3rd year. So we are up to 20 riders. I say riders, not all of them ride. I should say clients, but it's stuck in my head riding because we do a lot of riding. But yeah, we're up to 20 clients now.
Wonderful. And do you see them every week or I know it probably
Yeah.
varies, but
It mostly every week. For the counseling, hers can vary a little bit more, but for the adaptive riding or therapeutic riding or EAL, we have them sign up for 8 week sessions. So we'll go every week for 8 weeks and they get 1 hour. And it starts
Mhm.
out we go get the horse. They usually we go get the horse because our horses are kind of far away from our riding arena, but then bring the horse to them and we talk about haltering, grooming, saddling, and then finally we ride. And then we do all our games. We do a little warm up to start with every time. And then we'll do our curriculum or our game or whatever we're focusing on, our riding skill for the day, because we teach them horsemanship. We teach them how to ride. So we teach them how to make the horse walk on and whoa and turn. And we have a lot of little obstacle courses and um, patterns in the arena, like very similar to how you would teach a normal riding lesson, like just a regular riding lesson. I didn't say normal, but just like, and they learn how to turn, how to trot. Some of ours are trotting. We have only 3 that have progressed to trotting. And so we progress them as riders as well. And then we have a little cool down. And then at the end, they go and they groom their horse. And then we have snacks and we talk about everything. And that's the session. So,
Oh, that's nice. And so also they don't pay for their sessions, right? Tell us about that.
correct.
How do their
Yeah.
sessions get paid for?
Right now, we have been very blessed and fortunate to have sponsors and donors that are paying for the program to keep it going. And we had a big fundraiser last year. So yeah, currently we don't have to charge anyone, which is amazing.
Yeah,
And
that is amazing.
I really want to keep that going. Um,
Yeah.
so
That's what I hope to create with my nonprofit For the Love of Equine is right now we're paying for to have this documentary, right, to host them. But after that, I want to do some fundraising and awareness, right? Like every time you go talk to people, there's also that benefit. Even if they don't
Yes.
donate anything, we are able to educate the public about what equine assisted services are and what's the benefit and who can they serve and all of that. But yeah, that's what I want to do is so that at least there could be a stipend, if not everything get paid for,
Yes. Yes, a lot of
which,
programs run it by scholarships or,
yeah,
sliding scale
yeah,
scholarships, something like that.
that's good. That's hopeful for me as kind of coming into this field. What else did I want to ask you? So walk us through your process, a new client. One, how do you identify who's a client that's appropriate, so to speak, for this kind of service? And then walk us through your intake process, treatment planning, just kind of give me an idea what that looks like.
Yeah. So, what happens typically is we get a call from a family that they want to be part of the program. And what I always do is I have a phone conversation with the primary caregiver, whether that's the mom or the dad or grandma. A lot of times it's grandparents, and ask them, we have a questionnaire, we have an intake form that has all of their name, all their data, and then any medical diagnosis, medical, psychological, behavioral, any like their why. Why do you want to work with horses? What do you want to get from this? And then I don't go too far into it on the phone, just the very basics, and then get an idea if it'll fit our program. And by that, I mean if we can, if we have everything we need to help them, because we are small still, so that we have some limitations. We don't have a huge facility with every ramp, that all the things you might need. So then the second step is we schedule a one-on-one with them, and they come out to the property, and by after talking to them, I have an idea in my head of what I think, we can help them with. But then usually when I meet them in person, then I have a way better idea of what their needs are and where we can help them and where we can meet them. And I introduce them to, usually we have 5 horses, and I will already have in my head, like, based on their size, what they're there for, which horse is going to be best with them. But I'll usually introduce them to at least two, because sometimes the horse picks them, which is the cool thing that happened with our rider with a wheelchair, because he was our first rider with a wheelchair. And I knew, okay, these 3 horses will totally be okay with that. So I just brought 3 horses down to the arena. He was in the arena, him and his dad and his mom. We bring the wheelchair in, and I bring each horse to him and slowly, like, let them. We were very cautious about, like, let the horse get closer to the wheelchair. First of all, first we brought the wheelchair in without him in it to let the horses get used to it. And then we brought the wheelchair in with him in it and let each horse get close to him and let him pet each horse. And then we kind of just sat back for a minute and watched. And the first horse, who I thought would be the horse that we would be using for him, um, wasn't really that excited about the wheelchair. He was okay with it, but he was kind of like kept checking it out and wasn't that comfortable with the wheelchair.
Uh-huh.
My other horse, he just kind of ignored everything. He was like not interested, which is not normal for him either. But the third horse, which I didn't really expect to be the horse, he's just my biggest horse, and this boy is 6'5". So I was like, this horse can adequately fit him easily, a saddle that's big enough for him, because that's a big piece of it too, is how the equipment we need. And this horse came over to the wheelchair, sniffed the wheelchair, literally put his head in the boy's lap and just sat there. And I was like,
Wow.
he picked him.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's
So that was
amazing, like
cool.
when we just take our hands off things, right? Off
Yeah,
the reins, so to speak, no pun intended, but like the
exactly.
amazing things that can happen even during a session. Like there are those sessions too where the horse kind of lead, well, me, right? The horse will lead me. And and so I just allow that to happen because that only means, even more amazing things because they're so intuitive.
Yes.
They know way beyond what I know in terms of what's going on with the client and what are the emotions that the client is having and all of that. So it's amazing to watch that.
And it's really cool too, because if you go back to even some of the horse training, the style and the behavior of some horse trainers, up until Brooke Brenham, the horse whisperer, there was a lot of horse trainers that were very aggressive with their training, in the way they trained horses. And he is the first one, well, the most popular first one, who really was like, hey, there's a better way to do this. And, the horse mirrors us, and like how we interact with them is going to affect how they interact with us and how we train them. And he was the first person to really say, my favorite quote from him is when he's talking about the horse, he's like, you can train a horse to two ways. You can train a horse by fear or by trust. And if you train a horse to fear you, there will always be something he will fear more than you. But if you train a horse to trust you, when he's afraid, he will look to you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then a lot of these horses, rescue horses, come from, you may use domestic horses, I don't know, but they already have trust issues.
Yes.
They've already been violated. And so it's so important to treat the horses, any horse, any animal, right, with so much respect and
Yes.
regard. I always tell the horse thank you when I'm done,
Yeah.
and just thank you so much for your work today, for your contribution. I try to stay away from the word work because it
Yeah.
has so many connotations that really have nothing to do with what we do, really, with when it comes to integrating the horse. But sometimes I slip up because, I'm so used to that word, right? But I always say thank you, always express gratitude to the horse for the part that they've played in the session because
That's what we even teach the kids or the
yeah.
children, the riders that like, so you're going to say thank you to your horse. And the way they say thank you, they can pat them on the neck or,
Mhm.
give them, some of
Mhm.
them like to be petted on their ears. Some of them don't like that, but whatever that horse likes. And then at the end of the session, when they're on the ground, like the grooming is their thank you too. So we
Oh,
really
yes,
reinforce, like
yes.
we want everyone to do that at the end. We're not just there just to ride, like, because sometimes that gets taken over as the primary focus because the children love to ride and they want to focus on the riding skills. And it's like, but we're here for all of it, the horsemanship. And just because you're done riding, you're not done for the day. Like we need to take care of the horse and we
Yeah.
go and we groom them and we make sure they have water and we make sure they're doing okay. And some of them get treats, not by hand, but some of them
Well,
get
and
treats.
that's also a great way to help clear the energy, right? Because the horses pick up, I'm an energy worker, so I'm really, sensitive about that because
Yeah.
they pick up the energy of whatever's gone on during the session. So at the end of my sessions, I always make sure to clear them, and the way depends on the horse, but to mindfully really clear them of the energy, whatever they've absorbed, so that when I leave them, they're good,
Yeah.
they're not going to stay holding on to the anxiety or fear or whatever trauma, that they were around that day. And then how do you determine when somebody has completed, when they no longer need sessions,
That's
equine
actually the
session?
hardest part because what has happened, this is only the third year. So we keep upgrading them, right? Like, oh, you're graduating to this. So you were doing groundwork. Now you're graduated to walk halts, walk on, whoa. We do, red light, green light, those games. Now you're graduating to, we're practicing turns. And now you're graduating to more horse skills, horsemanship skills. And then you graduate to trotting. Once they get to a trot in our world, they're kind of at beyond what I would say is like my primary focus with the program. So that's when I kind of start talking to the families about like, and depends on their disability. Now, if they have a lot of physical disabilities, I will never expect them to graduate. Like they
Right,
can keep
right.
coming to us. But if it's more of some of our riders that have fully physical abled bodies and they could progress to regular riding lessons, more traditional, whether that be with me, because I do have Jenkins Equine and I can teach more advanced lessons, or that be with someone else. Like if I had one girl where like she wants to run barrels. Well, I don't have the time to expand her to that next level, but I referred her to one of my friends who is a barrel horse trainer and
Mm.
she's out there, trying to teach, work with her horse and run barrels. Like, so it's more of a progression. Like when they get to the point where they've progressed past what we can do for them in the program, then I like to
Yeah.
say they graduate. Like, okay, now you've graduated.
Well, because what would be hard too is the funding, right? Because if you have funding, I mean, the funding can only pay for a certain amount of people,
Right.
because it's
Exactly.
not, I would imagine it's not limitless. Like
No.
no funding is limitless.
No.
So, I was thinking about that. How do you know? I've been debating with accessing insurance, which I'm probably not going to because insurance is a pain to deal with,
I
It's
do know
just
that.
a pain. Yeah, it's very limiting. So I got certified in equine assisted psychotherapy and then also equine assisted coaching so that I could just have more flexibility in terms of, what I want to do and not having to access insurance if I don't want to. And also, coaching is very goal directed, which I like that. And then
Yes.
therapy is deeper. You're going deeper with people working on different things. So I like the flexibility and all of that. It's pretty
Yeah.
great. Um, let's see. How many staff and how many volunteers do you have?
So I have a core group of 10 volunteers that really do most of the work. Um, technically, I'm the only staff. Um, we're hoping to bring on once Bryce, our intern, graduates. We're hoping to bring her on full time. So that would be two. We do have, we had had a volunteer coordinator for a little bit, but it didn't work out. But that would be a goal for me eventually to be able to pay someone to be a volunteer coordinator, because that you need volunteers for
Yes.
the riding piece of it, especially right to have a leader and two sidewalkers for every child that needs that, and coordinating schedules and doing the fun stuff too. That is me trying to coordinate it all myself. It's like making sure we don't forget someone's birthday, or we're celebrating the volunteers as well. So there is software I'm working with right now. It's going to kind of help with that coordination a little bit because it can remind me when it's anyone's birthday in the program. It's called Stable Systems,
Oh,
and it's
nice.
like a
Uh-huh.
virtual barn. I can put in all the riders, all the volunteers, all the horses, match them up, and have a virtual whiteboard. And but beyond that, I have all the information for all those people, and I can just text certain groups, like text all the Friday riders or all the volunteers. So, because that's the stuff that is easy to miss when you're trying to do it all, right? You
Yeah.
miss some of the little things that make people feel appreciated for being a volunteer.
Well, yeah, those little things mean a lot to people. Just that little acknowledgement. Most people
Yes.
don't even need, they already have a huge heart or they wouldn't be
Yeah, that's why they're
volunteering. Yeah,
exactly.
and so any little thing can just go a long way for
Yeah.
sure. What else? Are you planning on coming to the event still?
Yes. Yes,
Awesome.
definitely.
Tell me about that. Are you bringing volunteers with you?
So I have right now, I have 4 people that have committed to coming with me.
It'd be wonderful to
So
meet whoever you bring with you. Yeah.
yes.
And you're going to come up the day before still?
Yes, I'm coming up Thursday now, actually. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that'll be wonderful. So we can have lunch and chit
Yes.
chat and all of that stuff. I know, will you be meeting? Because your boss is here, right? Or somebody's here.
Yes. Yes. So yes, I'll be going to, I work like my nurse educator job, I work for Lincoln County Medical Center, but we're part of Presbyterian in Albuquerque. So my bosses are in Albuquerque. So yeah, I'm gonna go meet them in the morning and hopefully attend that one meeting that is usually virtual. I'm usually on Teams. I can attend that in person, that 8:30 meeting, and just do a quick check-in with everyone there, and then progress over to lunch with you. And then my niece is also playing state basketball that week,
Oh,
which I didn't realize
nice.
until last weekend that it's the same week. So everything's happening that week in Albuquerque. So it's kind of fun. We
Yeah,
got a
that
lot
is
going
fun. You're
on.
good time to be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, and I definitely want to add you. So I have a equine coaching collaborative.
Yes.
I'm in the process of developing a website for the love of equine, which I should have done this week. But anyways, I want to add you guys to it because what it is kind of a write-up about you guys and what you do. I want the community to be able to go to the website and say they're looking for somebody in Ruidoso or, Sedona or wherever, Albuquerque, that they can look at vetted. So vetted, because that's the thing too, is to be able to have people that have been checked out, you know,
Yeah.
and just loosely, like, I mean, I've already talked to you several times. I would consider you a vetted provider. For the love of equine, what we'll be doing is offering money to help people pay for equine assisted services, whether it's through my company or your company or whoever in New Mexico, as
That's
long as it's
amazing.
provided by uh, vetted people. Yeah. So we'll talk more about that. And I want
Yeah.
I want to get you involved in that. And that way people can find you that have never heard about you.
Yeah. I love that you're doing that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I will see you when you get here. We'll be in touch before then, I
Yes.
know. When this is finalized for my producer, I'll send you the link. And
Okay.
what else? I think that's it. And I'll be posting it on all our social media and on our
Perfect. Yeah,
websites and
I
all of
had some
that.
people asking me right before, like, hey, where can we listen to this? So
Yeah,
that's
I'm
why I
kind of glad
texted
we
you.
don't do live because if something goes wrong, like say somebody's running late, it's not a big deal when
Yeah.
it's recorded. If it's live, it's more of a big deal, you know. And
Yes.
then the producer edits it, you can't do that with a live program.
No,
So
I
he
like that
takes
too.
it and he does his magic, and edits it and adds in like some really cool graphics and all of this stuff. So you'll get to see the end
That's
results of
awesome.
that. Anything you want to add to our viewers to tell them about, I don't know, about just how amazing horses are
Yeah.
to
Horses
work
heal
with.
humans. That's just it. Like they're very
Oh, we
healing.
know. Before you go, because he's going to post a picture, that picture of you standing in the middle of your herd.
Yeah.
Tell us their name, each
Oh,
of your
yes.
horses' name.
So we have BG. He's our biggest guy, and he's a tall bay. And then we have McGee. He's the second tallest. He's also a bay. And then we have Junior. I'm trying to remember the order they're in, but Junior's the sorrel horse, and he's the oldest. And he has a sorrel horse with just a little white
Huh.
spot, not a full blaze. And then he's a sorrel horse with a full blaze. And then Cue Ball, he's our gray, now white horse. He's very white now. He's about 25. So
Wow.
that's our
I love
herd.
that horses live so long. I wish
Yes.
that dogs did. I
I
wish I got to keep my
know.
dogs, for that long. But that's
Me
just not
too.
how it is. Yeah. But it was great
Yes.
talking to you. Wonderful
Me
meeting you. And I'll
too.
talk to you soon.
Yes, I look forward to seeing you not too long.
Okay. Take care.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.